I have actually seen a car goes into a right, left, and on the next right turn, the car pulled so many G-forces the airbags went off. Most people, when you tell them you race, they think you drag race. There's a big difference between your daily and your race car. Your race car gets a lot more attention.
Matt's headed through with a time of 50.676. Good time.
Monetarily, it's not worth it. It's a cheap hobby once you're into it. Getting there is the expensive part. It gets pretty serious, but I've done it on a budget. I've got less money in my car than some people have in their paint. People don't realize what cars can actually do when set up properly. Your typical street car, you're not gonna go out there and be competitive, but you tweak it a little bit and you'd be amazed. He is working in C. Yep, right here. Working in C also. Okay, she was working observer. All right, registration's done. My name is Matthew Leon. I am a mechanic by hobby, and I do grassroots racing. Grassroots is anybody out there. It doesn't take much to get into. You're not a professional driver. You're not making money. You know, entry level. This is where you start. It is a competition, but it is not for prize money. It's for bragging rights.
That was only the first run. So I am currently fastest in class.
It's good to have bragging rights for a few.
Yeah, right? At least a couple of minutes.
Most people don't know that there's multiple forms of racing. Everybody thinks, oh, racing, you're just going in a straight line. That's it. It's all you do. Or they think of NASCAR. So they think all you're doing is going in circles all day. Autocross, you're making lefts and rights. And it's against the clock. It's not against another car. Everybody thinks, oh, you got a fast car. What does it do on the drag strip? I have no idea what my car does. I've never been on the drag strip. But I can tell you how fast it can take a corner. You can go and buy a little car for $2,000, put a $800 set of tires on it and go racing and have a blast.
All right, so we're gonna go walk. It's not as bad as it looked on the map. Okay, stage is right here. So when you're looking at the track and you see these cones that are laid over on their sides, that's telling you that you have to go on a certain side of the cone. So everything means something. And then every cone that is standing up, if you hit it and it falls over, it is a 2-second penalty added to your overall time. So this cone laying down here tells you that you need to be on the left side of this cone right here. So you need to be driving this side. The cones laying over do not count for penalties, but the ones standing up do. So you want to come out here and walk just to get a feel of the layout. Gives you an idea of where you should put the car at each individual segment. It's also a good idea just to check everything out, make sure you know of any abnormal bumps that are on the track. I'm out here to have fun. That's the thing. At the end of the day, there's no prize money. You know, like this umbrella was actually a trophy for winning my class.
It is a run work event. For every group that you're in for racing, running, you have to work for another group. If you're racing in Group A, you are working in Group C. I work registration, so I work in the morning. I'm there checking people in, and if it wasn't for everybody working as well as running, these events wouldn't happen. We can't hire a staff of 80 people to go out there and run the event. It's just not feasible. Everybody always thinks sports as athleticism. It still takes strength to do this. It is taxing, actually. It does strain you. It feels like a roller coaster, but you're in control. That feeling that you get in your gut when you go down the hill on the roller coaster, you actually can feel that in these cars. The lightheadedness, the acceleration, you can feel all of that, and that's on acceleration, and then all of a sudden you've got to get on the brakes as hard as you can and make that turn, and now you're getting shoved to the side.
Better than Disneyland.
A lot of these modern cars, they're expensive, especially the sports cars like the Corvettes, and they're not a cheap car. With the older cars, in the Southwest, we're lucky, there's no rust. The cars don't rust, so you can actually find a decent one. loads of aftermarket companies that make all kinds of parts for them. So it just depends on your taste, really. Do you want a newer car that's turnkey, or do you want to build a car? Personally, I like to build cars. I drive a 1978 Chevrolet Monte Carlo. It is what most people would consider grandma's grocery getter. In stock form, it's very smooth, very easy to drive, and then I undid all of that. About the only thing I haven't touched is the trunk lid and the doors. So it's a 1978. The brakes on the front are from a 2001 Corvette. Brakes on the back are from a 2002 Camaro. The transmission is from a 2000-ish Dodge Viper. The motor is late 70s, early 80s truck motor that's been worked over to make horsepower instead of torque. I am adjusting the driveline angle, and all I'm gonna do is loosen up the transmission bolt and put some shims under it. The newer cars, they've got a bunch of background controls. They've got your traction control and your stability and all that, so spinning the car is actually difficult. I'm sure you've experienced it when you get on the brakes too hard, you feel that pedal vibrating. Yeah, that's the brakes not locking up on you, which will put you into a slide. The car I drive doesn't have any of that. If you push it too hard, it will lose control. This car, in the 4 or 5 years that I've been racing it, maybe only has 5,000 miles on it since then. It's not just a daily cruise. This car, especially with the type of racing that I do with autocrossing, you're either on the gas all the way down or you're on the brakes. There's no cruising. Under normal circumstances on the racetrack, it is go as fast as you can. That tends to wear out parts faster. You know, old cars used to tell you how to set the ignition timing. New cars tell you don't drink the radiator fluid. When back in the day, that was just common sense. Working on cars will push you to the limit. Sometimes things don't go the way you want. So knowing patience, and I've actually had to learn that over the years. I didn't used to have much patience. Yeah, developing that has helped a lot. And not only working on cars, but in a professional level as well. Yeah, so if you can work on your own car and do even just the basics, you're gonna save a lot of money in the long run. Your average mechanic is $100 an hour. You know, a typical service job might be 4 hours of labor. That's $400 right on the top. So if you can do all that yourself, you're money ahead. Also, they charge more than the parts cost. So they take the parts cost and they increase it to make money on that as well. There's a lot of tutorials on YouTube on how to fix your own car, starting from the basics all the way up to modifying, customizing, things like that. And then there's also service manuals that you can get at the general parts store. They're vehicle specific, they're not that expensive, and they've got a load of information.
I have not done it.
I don't know if you make it lower. Okay. Not really.
He's rolling the fender. So he's having interference problems between the tire and the inner fender. So he's using a baseball bat to make more room.
When you're racing, I guess you could say, you're usually on a track doing laps. There's other vehicles around you. Autocrossing, you're not door to door with anybody, so the chances of hurting your car are much lower. Get from point A to point B through the track as fast as you can. So we call it a run. You get multiple runs during the day, try to get your best time. And the little cars, honestly, they do very well. Out there, the most popular car is the Miata. They're dirt cheap and they're everywhere. Corvettes are a factory race car. They just handle great. They're factory road cars, they're proven. The suspension is very good, the brakes are very good. They're really low to the ground. Yeah, they perform. They've always been a performance car. You can go get a V6 Camaro for not too much and go out there and have fun. They're actually pretty quick. You can get other cars, you know, some of the Civics and things like that, some of the smaller import cars that do really well. BMWs do really well. I don't watch traditional sports. I don't watch basketball, football, baseball, but I grew up around the motorsports, so it was fitting. And this car I've had since high school.
So we were originally gonna go drag racing with this car. And that was always the plan. Just go drag racing. And we saw a TV show called Optima Ultimate Street Car where they do autocross. And we thought, hey, that looks a lot more fun than just going in a straight line. So we started headed that direction.
So the class that I race in is a street car class. It is what's called CAM, it's Classic American Muscle. And they have to be American cars, front engine, rear drive. My car is street legal, and in that class, it has to be street legal. So you have to have registration, you have to have insurance. A lot of these cars out there, they've got everything. They've got stereos, they've got air conditioning. My car doesn't, but a lot of them do. In autocross, your car is not required to have a roll cage. A lot of road racing, you're required to have a roll cage. Drag racing, once you get to a certain speed, you're required to have a roll cage. My car does not have a roll cage. It has what's called a harness bar. It just holds the shoulder straps for your harness. You don't need that even. Your factory seatbelt is just fine. Now, your factory seatbelt doesn't hold you in as well. Good luck when you go into a corner, you're gonna come out of the seat. The common upgrades are a better seat, a harness bar, or a roll bar, or a full cage. How much do you wanna spend? How much work do you wanna do? The more bars you put into the car, the less streetable it becomes. Roll cages are actually dangerous to drive on the street because you don't have your helmet like you do on the racetrack. So if you get into a wreck with a roll cage on the street, you hit your head on the bar, it's over. You're done, lights out. You don't have to bring your own car to race. There's a lot of people that share cars. I enjoy taking people with me. Some drivers out there, they're super competitive. They don't want the weight in there, so they don't put anybody in the passenger seat. Me, I don't care. Get in the passenger seat, enjoy it. I love putting smiles on people's faces.
Top in class again. Isn't it fun?
Nice pass.
Oh man. Now you can see how everybody's always just trading times so quickly. So these tires were brand new this morning. They don't look too hot. They don't look so hot now. So I keep having to bleed off pressure because after every lap, they pick up air pressure. They heat up and the air pressure builds up higher. And you want to keep them in an optimal range. Old car, they creak and rattle and shake and all that. But I will say the biggest thing about this car is this is a true father and son project. Me and my dad have done everything you see to this car.
It's something that me and my dad have done since I was a kid. I mean, he has pictures of me sitting inside the engine compartment when I was 3 or 4 years old. I've grown up around cars, just working on them. It's something that me and my dad have bonded over, and that's what we know. That's what we do. It's part of me. This is what I do. If you want to get into cars, make friends with car people. They'll teach you. Even if you just have a basic date, you know, a little car just to get from A to B, you don't have to go as fast as you think you can. You can take it slow. And once you're out there for the first time, you're going to love it.
Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoy our documentaries as much as we enjoy making them. Unfortunately, many of our videos don't earn enough YouTube revenue to afford the cost of production. But if you like our content, the best thing you can do is directly support it on Patreon. Plus, you'll get access to behind-the-scenes vlogs and commentary. If you're looking for something more in return, go to paragraphic.io where you can buy our other products and services. Alternatively, you can shop our Amazon storefront for our favorite equipment recommendations. Also, check out Boca, where you can find beneficial supplements to optimize your productivity. We especially love the lion's mane and mushroom gummies. races. And finally, consider signing up to Multitude, a platform built for long-form content, where you and other content creators can share and monetize new videos every week.